Hello everybody, my name is RagingRaptor and I welcome you to a new World of Tanks video. Today with the 9.20 test server preview, where we will be discussing everything. Or rather, first of all, the Chinese tank destroyers. Gameplay to those tanks will come a little bit later. But first of all, I want to discuss what is coming up to 9.20. You can also read it up in the on the website and such, but I want right now to discuss those tanks from tier 10 to tier 2 till we go to the other tanks and changes. Why? Because I personally look really forward to those new tank tree because it's again something new. I'm almost finished with most of the tank trees in general. The Swedish, I only need 40k to have a Kranwagen. So let's have a look at the first tank in the line, or the last to be exact, the tier 10 WZ113G FT. Well, first of all, it looks not cool. It looks ugly. Let's be honest here. Let's be frank. Second, though, it is actually a quite interesting machine. It feels, from stats wise, it kind of feels like a hybrid between an E3 and an Object 263. Well, or you can also say an Object 263 with not that bad things in general. Well, first of all, what is the gun of this tank? The gun of this tank is a 152mm gun, a standard issue 750 damage pea shooter, if you want to say it like that. It has 3.53 rate of fire, which is a reload time of 16.3 seconds, which is better than the one of a Gorilla 15. Well, a Gorilla 15 obviously got nerfed. And yeah, that's about it. The aim accuracy is okayish, 0.38. Aim time is rather long with 2.5 seconds. But yeah, and I have to say though, this tank will most likely not be played as a sniper. Why though? Look at this tank. It has one teeny tiny cupola, and that about it. As we know with another video which I will upload afterwards, or already am uploading, those hatches don't count as weak spots anymore. So you have the whole upper front, which is 230 millimeters thick. Except for this part. I think this part is around 200, 180, 150 millimeters thick. So you need to play with this tank hull down. And I think it can actually do that pretty decent. Minus 6 degrees gun impression, which is not too shabby. And 12 degrees down elevation gun. And traverse limits to the left and to the right. 2100 hit points is one of the highest ones in the game. Jackpot 700 with the highest of 2200. And that about it. I think then this tank comes. To the mobility, it has a maximum speed of 83 kilometers per hour and 16 kilometers backward speed, 650 horsepower and a HP to ton ratio of 11.89. Well, honestly, this could be a bit better compared to other tanks. Now I made a little screw up. I just want to do it like that. There we go. Because many other tier 10 TDs have better HP to ton ratio. Object 263, Object 268, Gorilla obviously. Trackpin 200 has worse obviously. E3 has the same. E4 has better. Foch 155 has better. This Foch has also better obviously. Stritzwagen has also better obviously. This one same-ish. Yeah. As you can see, it will be on the speed levels of an E3, just he has a higher top speed. And I think this makes a big change because this tank can get to its top speed of 38 kilometers per hour on flat surface from my personal opinion right now. I still need to test it. But this tank looks really interesting. To that comes 390 meters of fuel range, and I personally think you could actually use this tank with vents, tank gun rammer, and optics. With a good crew, you will get to your 445 meters fuel range, which is actually something really strong, which I tend to do with other TDs. For example, the 268. Sadly here, as you can see, it has worse fuel range. Let's show it here. No, sadly not. Well, shows it here. It gives plus 40. It says 400 meters fuel, 390 meters fuel range, as I can see, and 8 meters. Yeah, it's not that good, sadly. And this tank can be valid when you use it with optics. So I'll be looking forward to that because you have then the optics plus a good crew with few range skills and bada beam, bada boom, bada bam. You should be able to get on your 445 meters of view range. Because just saying, if can I return? With checkpoint 700 crew, it's 430 meters of view range. With the 10% which he has, plus 20%, well, then you will probably get the 445 meters of view range, which is nice for a tier 10 tank destroyer. Um, Lastly, which is obviously something really important for a tank destroyer, is camouflage. And it actually looks like it is not that bad. It's actually rather decentish. Well, let's go back to look at it with all tank destroyers, and you can see it lags behind the Foch. It's way better. It's double as good as one on the stage 2, and you can see the Foch 155 has roughly the same camouflage as this tank. Even this tank has even a little bit better. Yep, it's on par with the E3. Again, this tank strikes resemblance with a E3 rather big. Even the guns look rather similar. To be exactly similar when it comes to DPM. Just it has worse penetration, for that better premium penetration, and well worse accuracy. But nevertheless, it is not bad. I'm really looking forward to this tank, as you probably have guessed already. So we should but go down the hill. We go to the ISU. Oh, sorry, excuse me, not the ISU 152. It's the WZ 111 GFT. It's a tier 9 tank destroyer, and it's roughly similar to the WZ 113 GFT. Just it has everything slightly worse. Worse armor, worse speed, worse view range, worse camouflage. Yeah, it's not too bad, but it's something. But I think this is something which I'm really looking forward to when you come from tier 9 to tier 10, you feel the improvement. There are certain tanks which I have to say are feeling like a downgrade. And I think from this to the other tank, it will be a big upgrade. Like it was with the Stridswagen 103B. I felt like it is an upgrade, yes, but it's not really because with a tier 9 tank you can club much more tanks. So yeah, this tank certainly doesn't look that bad. I'm also wanting to show that so far you need 231,000 free XP to get the tier 10 one, which is actually not that bad. The good thing, well, Top Gun 67,000 free experience kappa, and plus another 23,000 to get models. No, let's have a look. Right now, what is our weight limit? Yeah, it's exactly. You need the tracks to mount any modules, or you take the torsion bars, which is kind of sad. The tank with the stock gun, is it actually something you can play? Obviously, it looks funky, but nevertheless, the stock gun is actually a valid option. You might don't even want to drain your free experience into this particular tank, because it has a good DPM. It has 2600 DPM. The Top Gun has exactly the same. Or am I just stupid? 2608, let's get the small gun. 2606. Only the other problem is with this gun, well, it has a little bit less damage and a little bit less penetration. But otherwise, it's actually a valid option to play this tank stock. Really well balanced, I would say so far. See, it even is more accurate, so I actually would think the stock gun here is a valid option to play through this tank. Well, the more you know. I don't want to stay too long now because the tier 10 tank is right now the more important one, and let's head to the tier 8 one. Seriously, this tank looks amazing. It's simply a WZ hull, 111 hull with a superstructure and a big ass gun in it, and I like that. I really, really like that. That's funny. That's really, really funny. Just need to. Ah, okay. Well, this tank obviously takes the stock gun of the tier 9 tank, and it's even a little bit better. It's the same again. It has a worse DPM, but 2500 DPM is certainly not something too shabby. 560 damage is the highest non-750 damage gun in the game at tier 8, which is actually rather strong when you think about it. This is a Jack Tiger gun on tier 8. This is a Waffenträger auf Panzer 4 Top Gun on tier 8. This is a Panzerkampfwagen 7 gun on tier 8. And remarkably, the HP to ton ratio is also not too shabby. The speed is not too bad, and the concealment looks actually rather good. Here, because tier 8 is also something you most of the time want to look out for, I want to look into other tanks DPM, and as you can see, it's fairly balanced. It's a little bit on the lower side, as you can see from the TDs. Well, Jack Tiger 8 is something you don't want to talk about. Let's be honest here. It has the Scorpion, she has 2600 DPM, this one has 2500. Yes, it has 100 less, but he packs an even bigger punch than this tank. So certainly I think so far well balanced. But let's have a look at when it is in a stock configuration. What does the stock gun offer us? This gun could actually be a pain in the might be a pain in the arse to grind through, might be not. 192 millimeters of penetration for a tier 8 TD is not much, but the DPM for that is actually pretty good, so it actually might be something. The good thing is, well, no, not the good thing. This tank is built as an XP drain. What is an experience drain? So you need to waste free experience or you get stuck on the line a little bit. To get the top gun, you need to push into 100,000 free experience, which is a lot. I would say that when you have this gun, the 122mm, the second gun, you don't really need to free XP the top gun. But nevertheless, this is a huge XP drain. In return, the double set 100 GFT only costs 116,000 free experience. So not too bad. The sad part is none of your engine, it looks like you can take over from the heavy tank line, making it again an artificial experience drain. Sadly, it happens. So this tank, I would say you can play it stock, it will not be that good. Let's be honest here. When you get the second gun, you will lose actually quite on DPM. Holy shit. Well, it gets a bit, it's heavy, it's hefty. The stock gun has a really good DPM, one of the best, it looks like, but crappy penetration. The medium gun has crappy DPM, but decent enough penetration to actually be useful again. And the top gun is the best of both worlds if you want to rather good DPM and good enough penetration, really good enough penetration. But this tank might be a pain in the arse to grind through. Let's go down to tier 7. That tier 7 tank looks like an E25. And from the camouflage values, it actually could be, let's face it. This tank's camouflage might be actually better than the one. It's basically SU 12244 for a regular tree, it looks like. Just that the top gun has 192 millimeters of penetration. And it doesn't have the ridiculous DPM of SU 12244. Except, let's have a, no, it doesn't have another gun. This tank could actually also be rather strong, it looks like. The reload time, 9 seconds for 390 damage, is not too shabby. You can push it down to roughly 8, I would say, with a good crew and modules. Top speed is also rather good. The engine, can you take it from... No, you sadly can't. But it doesn't really... It gives some horsepower, but not too much. The armor will most likely be crappy. 70mm front armor won't be that good. But camouflage values are for this tank rather strong. Yes, it feels like a worse version of the SU 12244, but with better penetration. And gosh darn, the camouflage looks scary. This is 29 and this one has 25. So it's really not too bad. Okay, this tank has a crew in it, so that's why it's so good. So how will be the stock run on this tank? Well, the tier 7 stock gun has 181 millimeters of penetration. This is actually decent. 2000 DPM, well, it could be better, definitely. The next gun has a bit more penetration and also a little bit better DPM. So again, not too shabby. Actually, both guns are really accurate for being such a small caliber. So I also would say the middle tier gun, the 100mm 600, this one which I show right now, fuck those names, has actually also pretty decent accuracy, as you can see. The top gun, will the accuracy drop down? Yes. Let's have a look how experience looks like. 76,000 experience for tier 8 TD, well, okay-ish, but 17,000 plus another 27,000. Again, a rather big XP drain, plus you most likely need to get the tracks. It really feels like this Chinese tree is a little bit built about putting free XP in it to get good guns. Not the biggest fan of it, definitely not. But those, at least the tanks look interesting so far. Let's go down to tier 6, where we have an WZ version of a TD 131, and it resembles in weight and speed, it looks like. With a, oh my gosh, when you have this engine in it, this tank will have a really strong HP to ton ratio. Let's just do it for the lols, because 5,000 experience. This tank could actually be a really cool fun mobile, I would say. 21 HP to ton ratio. Bollocks, this is really strong. But how is it looking with the guns? We have two guns again. One, well, the stock gun and the top gun. The stock gun looks not that good. 145 millimeters of penetration is, let's face it, bad. But let's face it, otherwise, the Czech Panzer IV has also such crappy penetration. So you get a huge boost when you get the top gun with 181 millimeters penetration, 250 damage. The accuracy on both tanks is really great, and yeah, it looks decent enough. And Jesus, this engine looks amazing. Plus, again, this tank has really good concealment. Looks like lower tier tanks, great concealment. Top tier tanks rely a little bit more on armor. Something rather interesting, I would say. How is it looking with the free experience so you can plan accordingly? 50k for the tier 7, yeah, that's a lot. 16,000 for the top gun. Okay, that works kind of. But let's go down to tier 5. This tank looks ugly as fuck, let's be honest. And it also has a really bad concealment. I really feel this tank, when you come from the tier 5 to the tier 6 tank, you will make a huge step. It just looks like this. Nevertheless, the gun actually is not too bad. 180 damage, 145 millimeters penetration. It's the stock gun of the tier 7 tank as a top gun. The stock gun here, well, it's also not too bad. Sadly, most likely again, you can't take the engine from anywhere, so yeah. DPM wise, it really looks good. -8 gun depression is also rather nice, but snapping with this tank could be hard. Accuracy, well, it works, but your concealment is really not good. Plus 340 meters of fuel range, please don't. The tier 4 one is SU-76, how it says already. Gun, rather big, 160 millimeters, 160 damage on tier 4. Looks strong. Concealment is again much better, and it is fast. Holy balloons, look at that, 22 HP to ton ratio. And it can even get a bigger engine, but this won't make such an effect like on the tier 6 one. How much gun depression? -5, okay, that's a lot worse, but the side angles are decent. 30 degrees he has over here. That's not too shabby. Again, you can see I'm getting a little bit faster because lower tiers are not that important, because you get through them quite fast. Well, here you might also ask how much XP you need to waste, 2,800, 5,000, and here we will be at 10,000. Okay, that's cheap. And up here will be the 20,000. Okay. 35,000 experience. That's not much. The tier 3 tank has two different guns for Arch and two tier 5 guns, one with a lot more penetration while the other has a lot more damage. You pick the one which you like the most. The tank will be again really good at speeding around, like speeding Gonzalez. The smaller gun with more penetration has much better DPM, so most likely go to that tank guns because of your camouflage, with your mobility, it will work pretty good. As you can see, it's basically an M3 light tank which has no turret. It's just a converted TD. And lastly, third tier. Does any one of you know that tank? Anybody? Anyone knows this tank? You have to know that tank. Really? No one? Even if I show you this tank? Now you know, right? Now you know. It's the it's exactly the same tank. We have two exact copies, to be honest. An SU-76 with closed roof, basically, and this one. But let's be honest, it's tier 2. You can skip it with around like 5k experience, free experience. Not even that. What the hell I'm talking? 1,500 experience you need. That's one good daily and you are done. One thing I saw though on this whole tank tree is that you have always 4 crew members. Commander, gunner, driver, reloader. And look at that, that's pretty nifty. Look at that. It always stays the same till tier 10. This means if you have one dedicated crew already, you can work on this. You will always have the same commander with the same radio operator skills and so on. So yeah, definitely something which is good looking. Yep, it's still working. Excuse me, just need to have a look if it's still working or not. Well, what do we have for changes? We finally done with the Chinese TD lines. I hope I could give you a little bit of a preview what you think about them. So now we're going to the to other changes, to other tanks. First of all, we have the mouse, which got a slight nerf, which is desperately needed in my opinion because this tank is really strong. It loses 200 hit points and the gun gets 1.3 seconds more reload time. It's now at 11.2 rather than its 9.8 something. Well, I think this is fair and square because before the DPM was rather strong, well, it was around 2,700, 2,800, which could rival other tanks definitely. So yeah, that's kind of nifty. Then people which play the Jack Tiger 88, like me, will get a little happy surprise. It will get slightly buffs. Well, it's accuracy buffs. Sorry if I have here my thing so I can see what I'm speaking about. Well, it gets slightly accurate when it shoots on a move. A shoot spread during movement reduced by 6%, and spread during hull rotation also by 6%. So you can do those snapshots better when you are on the move. Well, I take it. Plus the hull rotation speed was buffed by 4 degrees. This is something I really like to take. Thank you very much, Wargaming, for this pleasant surprise. Next up, we get a T44 lightweight in a super test. Sadly, I can't show you that one. It's a tier A premium scout for the Russians. Then T54 mod 1, he gets a lot of little changes to itself because let's be honest, it's a tank which is not that nifty. It gets better accuracy on the move and on the hull traverse, it's 9% each, plus the spread when you turn your gun will be lessened by 25%. The aim time will get shorted by 0.2 seconds. You get more view range from 360 to 380. That's actually good. It gets better turret armor. I already talked about that. And the armor penetration goes up from 183 to 190 plus the premium from 235 to 247. It gets -7 gun depression from -6, as you can see here. And it gets more shells from 36 to 56. Not too shabby either. I'll take it. The T44 and the T44-100 will also get some buffs. They get exactly the same buffs, which will be the aim time will be better from 2.2 seconds to 2 seconds. Accuracy while you turret traverse will be 15% better. Reload time gets a rather big boost from 8.1 to 7.5 seconds. So we get it down to 6.33 seconds. That's actually pretty nifty. It will be on par with the 59 pattern, yes. And the penetration will also be buffed like the one on the T54 mod 1. Then T-103, that's a turreted tank destroyer of the Russians. We'll get a worse engine power. Um, T-54 also gets some changes. I don't really want to go in the I should not go to in depth into them. It gets a more accurate gun. The guns change slightly. Where is he? T-54. There you are, you little cockroach. We have one gun which has much better accuracy, much better penetration, and one gun which has much better DPM and worse accuracy. Well, that's about it. You will still shoot heat, let's be honest. 330 millimeters of heat penetration is still just too broken. So not much will change there. What will change though? The IS-7. The IS-7 gets a rather strong push buffuri. Well, isn't it that what it needs? I am not really sure. It gets more hit points, 2,400, and it gets a new engine with 1,200 horsepower. And oh boy, let's have a look when we compare it with a tank of its peers. The Object 260. The Object 260 will still be king because of how fast it is. But look at that. The HP to turn ratio caught up quite fast with the IS-7. So I would say on flat surfaces you will reach 50 kilometers per hour rather easily. Gun bloom was reduced, so it's more accurate on the move, and aim time got reduced to 2.9 seconds, which is also pretty nifty. Next up, changes to some TDs on the Russians. We have the youuuu, which loses its BL-10. It gets a new gun, the 152mm D4S gun, and well, yeah, not much to say about this gun. It has worse penetration, that's about it. The Object 704 will also get this gun. And this is actually important. I would suggest to you right now to grind the youuuu 152, get the BL-10, and then you already have the top gun on the Object 704. Because the Object 704 gets this, the new gun, which you would then need again to waste 63,000 experience in it. In return, you need 63,000 experience less to get the Object 268, which is rather nifty. But then again, well, I would say just try to get the gun fast. It looks fun though. But again, when you have the BL-10, it's nothing compared to this. As you can see, not much change. The BL-10 is just a little bit more accurate. It has a better DPM, but it's all around an upgrade. So yeah, try to get the youuuu with the BL-10. That would be great for you guys. Object 268 gets some buffs. The gun, not only gun to be precise, but the shells go a lot faster. I can't show you this in-game because they don't show this really. And but what they changed is those gun traverse angles from 6 degrees left and right to 11 degrees left and right, which is definitely something cool. Object 140, well, turret buff. Up here it's now 75 millimeters thick rather than an auto pen. Some changes to the patterns. Those are something like they get again, I would suggest you to look it up on the website and the forums. There it shows you better. Here we can't have a damage model, sadly. Would be really, really nifty to have damage models, let's be honest. But though this tank gets a turret armor buff, this tank loses all the additional guns you need to grind. So hey, yeah, you get a new gun and it even looks new. It gets a new HD model. It gets an M60 range, what's it called? Night vision goggles, and it loses its huge ass weak spot. So the M60 will get to be a rather strong tank. Might be. It gets a lot of things. Then something which is more important again, the French tanks. French TDs. This is something I want to talk a little bit more about again. Let's go like this. Yes. First of all, Foch 155, you have proven you are not a bad TD. Actually, you are a bad TD. He gets some buffs, better gun impression, better gun traverse angles. And, well, it gets replaced by this tank. And as you can see, this is something which I don't really like. Wargaming, please. On this tank, I had camouflage, I had emblems. Why don't you give it me as well, like it is here? Like those were my emblems and such things. Why do I need to buy them again? This is kind of really doesn't need to be like this. Nevertheless, the biggest things which change is that from tier 8 on, every tank of the will have an autoloader. The Tier 8 one, a 3-shot autoloader, the Tier 9 one, a 4-shot autoloader, and the mighty Tier 10 one, a 6-shot autoloader. It will roughly have, it has a little bit better burst damage than this tank, and it also needs a little bit, it actually needs, it needs the same amount of time to unload. Just it is far less punishing when you fuck up. Let's be honest here, look at that. 38 seconds clip reload time against 50 seconds for roughly the same damage. And no, actually worse damage. Look at that. 2300 DPM, 3100. Both tanks have no crew, no modules. It's much more accurate, better aim time. Yeah. What can I say about that? What can I say about that? It's actually a little bit sad. The Foch 155 will be now a premium in the matter of it can be rather good on where's my crew though? It's in here obviously. I'm stupid. See, it will be like this little fella. Foch 101B, it will be retained the crew fully and you can use it on this tank, which is also rather nifty. So you still have this tank. If you got it before the patch, you need to have brought it, otherwise you will be a little bit and slightly screwed over. But as also side armor will be buffed, but that's about it. Then IMX 3075 gets more shells. Batchet Leon gets more shells for the 100mm gun, not the big gun. And yeah, the AMX AC gets its 3-shot autoloader, much more accurate. As you can see here, 3-shot autoloader, 34 seconds reload time, and rather decent. The accuracy gets nerfed though, because now you want to play it more as an assault gun. It gets better hull armor and better aim time and more shells. Foch, well, same treatment roughly. Worse accuracy, better on the move, 4-shot autoloader. At least there's a sour engine, at least still. It will still also have a quite long grind, 200,900 experience. Boy, that's a lot. Other French tanks which got changed are the AMX 30, which gets better turret armor and some changes to the gun, and the AMX 30B. And they both got a tad worse accuracy. As you can see, it used to be around 3.4 and 3 to 3.6, but accuracy on the move and aim time gets buffed by 1 second almost. That's a lot. Aim time got buffed and turret armor gets buffed. And in return, penetration gets nerfed from 260 to 148, so it will be on par with the TVP. Well, we'll see how this works out. The turret armor should be a lot better. You still have this huge cupola, which is only 100mm thick, but the DPM is actually strong. Holy balls. We can also have a look at the DPM of this medium tank on top tier. With a 262, 3400, still king of DPM, not anymore. 3600, 3400. It is still on par with this tank, and holy shit, this tank has one of the best DPMs in the game. Actually, I think it's this one, but yeah, 907. Every other tank is worse, let's be honest. 3500 against 3600. This tank will be the new king of DPM. That's actually ridiculous. High view range, strong gun handling, aim time, rather decent accuracy still with good crew, and holy balls, best DPM in class. Well, wargaming, you really want to know what you're doing with those tanks. Yep. And Japan Tier 5 Heavy gets more weak spots and gets worse gun traverse and hull traverse. OI, or experimental, loses its big gun and gets more armor. The OI gets worse armor. Well, not too shabby. And yeah, the OHO gets AP, premium AP for its gun, for this centimeter gun. As you can see, 253mm penetration, a rather balanced premium round. And that is about it. I don't know how long I talked. I hope you liked this preview. Those are all the tank changes roughly. Most important, Chinese TDs are out and up and running. I will try to make as soon as possible a gameplay of one of those tanks. Thanks for watching. I hope you endured. Let me know in the comment section what you think and have fun on the test server. Bye bye.